Hello, is low cortisol the cause of your fatigue? Today I want to talk to you a little bit about how low cortisol levels can contribute to dysfunction in our bodies. So the number one symptom that people get with a low cortisol is fatigue. Just not I'm a little tired, but that life-altering type of fatigue that no matter how much you sleep, it's just not going to get better. So other things that you may notice with a low cortisol level are body aches, muscle aches, GI symptoms like abdominal pain and nausea, for some people diarrhea or vomiting. We can also get weakness of our muscles and dizziness or lightheadedness. That can also happen. So there are different reasons that we can get low cortisol levels, but probably the two most common, one are if your thyroid isn't functioning optimally. That's a reason, because it's all involved in an axis, the HPA axis, where our thyroid is all connected with our brain and our adrenal glands, which then produce the hormones for our body. So everything's interconnected. So the number one reason for that for a lot of people is that they have hypothyroidism. But another is that you're just someone who is living too long in a hypercortisol state where you're going, where you have a lot of stress in your life and just not able to lower those cortisol levels on your own, and eventually your body just kind of burns out. And then instead of having high cortisol levels, you then in fact have low cortisol levels. How can you find out if you have low cortisol levels? So there are blood tests, and that's one way to check it. And that's especially good for if you have an autoimmune condition like something like Addison's disease. And I'm not speaking towards Addison's in this video. This is just for a lower than normal cortisol level. And another way, in the way that I typically test women for that, is that we do something called a Dutch test. And that tests urine and saliva. And not only does it give us information on your cortisol level itself, it also tells us how much of that is being metabolized and utilized in your body. It also tells us the curve. We have a normal cortisol curve where it should peak in the morning and then gradually go down and be low for the night. But for some people, their curve is peaking at the wrong time, or it's not peaking at all. So it shows us how your cortisol is functioning in your body at different times of day. That test also shows us a lot of information with your other hormones, your estrogen, testosterone, etc. So it just has a tremendous amount of important information that we can gain from it. But for this talk, the cortisol and the cortisol curve is what we would be looking at. So if you're someone who's running in that high cortisol state, to try to prevent yourself from going too low in your cortisol in the future, you just really want to focus on trying to relax, getting good quality sleep every night, taking time for yourself, exercising, but not exercising too hard, as we don't want to then just burn out your cortisol even faster. So those are just some tips, but really important that if you're caught up in that go, really just step back, slow down, find some ways on a daily basis to, whether it's meditation or yoga or just taking a hot bath and reading, something where you can just really chill out. If your cortisol levels are low now, there are things that you need to do, like I was just talking about. Even though your cortisols aren't high, we don't want to tax your body even further. So really needing to keep that stress lower, eating an anti-inflammatory diet, staying away from the sugars especially, but also things that produce inflammation for a lot of people can be gluten and dairy. but that's not the case for everyone. But sugar is a big one, and alcohol, want to avoid that with low cortisol levels. It's still so important to make sure you're getting good quality sleep every night, setting up good sleep hygiene and bedtime routines, taking that time every day for yourself to just relax, try to avoid stressful and stimulating situations. It's also important to say no to things. Don't tax your body more than you need to by saying yes to everyone and everything that's coming up. You need to have rest. Rest is so very important. And then there are natural herbs and supplements that we can do to help rebuild that function as well. Exercise is still important, but you just need to proceed very cautiously, and a little goes a long way. Something like yoga or Tai Chi, and I'm talking more of the relaxing yoga, not the super workout, sweaty yoga. It's also good to just go for short walks, just build that up, but nothing too intense, because you should be feeling good after you exercise, not feeling like you just zapped whatever energy you did have out by exercising. It should build you up, not take you down. So those are some steps to help just support your adrenal glands, and so that your cortisol levels can get to a better state. But there's a lot more to that, and rebuilding adrenal function is just not a simple task always, and there are a lot of different factors that can be contributing to that. So if that's something you feel like maybe this is an issue, feel like I'm talking to you about that, I'd love to join you and have a chat and find out if we can help and walk alongside you through that path and look into testing and get things better, because a low cortisol state is not a fun place to be in, not a good supportive state for your body, and just a miserable way to live. So we want to get you better. We want to get you to optimal health and wellness and lots of energy so you can love life again. We'll talk to you soon.